Hey everyone, I'm Tom. Welcome to my grow room. I just wanted to do a video on taste testing. The first ripe tomato I produced from my little aquaponic setup. And Pip is joining me up here. Yeah? How you doing? If I had two, I'd give you one to taste too, buddy. But I only got one ripe one. Anyway, I'll bring you guys in, show you what it looks like, and we'll give it a taste. So these tomato plants, they're all just from cuttings. I just cut suckers off of some grape, cherry, tomato plants that I grew out of my deck. Yeah, so I just have styrofoam with just some fish tank rocks thrown in, and I just poked holes in the styrofoam blocks, and you can see how the stems are reaching down into the water and how the roots have grown from those stems. And yeah, I have an air stone in the back. And I also have a filter running just to circulate the water and to filter out some of the extra food or waste that gets caught up in there. But yeah, these plants, their only fertilizer is what is produced by the fish in the fish tank. And I have a little cluster of tomatoes back here. So let's just pick this guy off. I guess I do have a couple. It's another ripe one there. But yeah, pretty small, but looks pretty good. So let's see how it tastes. I wonder if it's going to taste like fish. Alright, here goes. Doesn't taste as good as one fresh off the vine outside, that's warm in the sun. It's definitely not as good as that, but still pretty good tasting tomato. And I'm just kind of amazed that these cuttings actually put out some fruit, some flowers and fruit. I didn't really know what to expect when I stuck these cuttings in the fish tank. It's just a little experiment. And the plants seem to be growing quite well, so I'm gonna keep them going and see how big these plants get just from growing in fish tank water. So I thought I'd also show you guys how I drain my tank. I drain it about halfway and use the water to water my other plants. And fill the tank up with fresh water. I do have a filter running in there, but I feel like doing this every few days is just a way to get some of the fertilizer that the fish are producing and to add it to my other plants, and it seems to be doing a good job. So I'll just show you basically how I siphon it out. I have a section of hose, just cheap garden hose. I just stick in the tank. And I've never swallowed any water yet. There's it going. Just basically siphon it in. I try to suck up as much of the waste as I can. Picks up some of the rocks that have spilt out of the styrofoam boxes. So the water's pretty gross looking, but that's what makes it good. So I drained the tank out halfway, and that pretty much fills up a 5-gallon bucket. Just pull the hose out, the last little bit drain. Then I have this freshwater tank here, which I let sit out to let the water warm to room temperature and the chlorine to evaporate. And I just siphon in fresh water from the tank and refill my fish tank. So along with the fish tank water, I do use chemical fertilizers. This plant prod 20-20-20 NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. It also has micronutrients and it's water soluble, so you can use it in hydroponic applications. Yeah, I know some people are very against inorganic salt fertilizers, but they are a lot cheaper than organic fertilizers, and you can get much higher NPK levels with inorganic salt fertilizers. I don't think it's an issue in terms of health or quality of your plants, but that's just my opinion. So this is the kind I use. So I add about 1 scoop to a 5-gallon bucket, and I also use Epsom salts, and I use, which is just magnesium sulfate, just straight up Epsom salts, and I usually fill a cap full. About that much. And I add that to a 5-gallon bucket as well. And I feed my plants about every 2 weeks. I add the inorganic salt fertilizer, this guy, and the Epsom salts. I add this first, mix it in, then I add the Epsom salts, mix that in, and it's just a little boost of nutrients for my plants. There's a lot of debate between inorganic or organic, and basically I'm using a combination of both. I'm using organic in terms of my own compost, which I make, and then also the fish tank water, which is an organic source of waste. And then just to bump up the nutrient values, I use salt fertilizers. This plant prod, very impressed with it. I think it works well, but other people who use Miracle Grow, that kind of stuff, that's fine too. And then Epsom salts are a really good thing to add to your nutrients. So yeah, that's the way I choose to fertilize my plants. But if you can afford organic fertilizers, and if that works for you, that's great. I just find this very simple, very easy, and that's what I choose to use. So anyway, take care, everyone. Bye. Pip. What do you think, buddy? Not bad?